The pressure to succeed and to win at all costs often tempts us to behave immorally or unethically. And in a world of increasing expectations, rapid communication of global economics, geopolitics, and robust technology, our success and our failures are both magnified and leveraged. See, we live in a world where the unethical actions of a single CEO, of a politician, or of a large corporation can leave hundreds, thousands, and even millions of people in a state of complete economic devastation. And that's why we must individually and collectively elevate ourselves above the lying, the cheating, and abuse so readily accepted in our society today. Hi there, this is Gary Ryan Blair, and in this message titled Treason, Traitors, and Consequences, we're going to talk about the need for accountability and the enforcement of consequences in ourselves and in others. Now, if there's one thing I've learned in life, is that if there are no consequences for poor choices and bad behavior, that people will continue to behave badly. They will grow bolder in their actions and their threats. They will cause harm to themselves and others. And they will establish a precedent and a roadmap for other bad actors to follow and expand upon. That's why you can't let big banks get bailouts, because if we do, bankers will take bigger risks. And that's exactly what they're doing. We must make it illegal for the media to create propaganda, because if allowed, the media will manipulate facts and it will censor opposing views. And that is exactly what's taking place as well. We must prohibit mail-in ballots and do not allow non-citizens to vote. Because if we allow it, elections will be stolen, and we're seeing this play out in real time. Superintendents, school boards, and teachers must outlaw critical race theory and sexualized messages to their students. Because if allowed, they will corrupt the minds and the souls of our youth. And this is one of the hot potato topics that we're dealing with today. We must mandate that judges, attorneys, and medical professionals protect the rights and the best interests of their clients' health and well-being. Because if they do not, they will be used, abused, and some will even be killed. And that is exactly what's taking place in society right now. We must not allow police and military to arrest, to oppress, and deny citizens of their right to free speech and public assembly. Because if allowed, fascism will become the governing model. And that's exactly what's taking place right now. We must hold elected officials accountable for honoring the Constitution, for putting their country first, and for serving the people that they represent. And by not doing so, they will sell themselves out to serve the needs of special interest groups and deep-pocketed donors. And some will even engage in treasonous behavior. This behavior opens the door to bribery and blackmail, and once again, that's exactly what's taking place right now. Now, insurers call these types of behaviors moral hazards. Moral hazards occur when one person takes more risk because someone else bears the cost of those risks. They do this because they do not fear the consequences. Now, economists use this term to describe inefficiencies that occur when risk are displaced or cannot be fully evaluated, rather than a description of the ethics or morals of the individual parties. That's a big mistake in my book, as moral hazards have everything to do with the ethics and the morals of an individual, a corporation, or a governing body. So let's talk about a moral compass. You see, a code of ethics is a moral compass. It serves as a fixed reference point for behavior, and you either get the importance of that one or you do not. A compass is a navigational instrument that provides a known reference point, which is of great assistance in providing direction. And the compass helps us to find true north. And true north, as we know, is analogous to what is right, what is ethical, what is true or appropriate in a moral sense. Now, most of us have a moral compass, though everyone does not point to true north. And if your moral compass is spinning, that simply means that you're having trouble getting a fix on what is right or what is ethical. Knowing the right thing to do is ethics challenge number one. The second challenge is in actually doing it. That's why we've got to remember that behavior never lies. Those whose moral compasses are pointing in the right direction typically have a firmer moral sense, and they've somehow escaped the moral relativism that is frequently present when one's moral compass is spinning. You see, the pressure to succeed tempts each one of us to behave immorally or unethically. And in a world of increasing expectations, of rapid communications, of global economics, geopolitics, and robust technology, our successes and our failures are both magnified and they are leveraged. We live in a world where the unethical actions of a single CEO, politician, or large corporation can leave hundreds, thousands, and even millions of people in a state of complete economic devastation. That's why we must individually and collectively elevate ourselves above the lying, the cheating, and the abuse so readily accepted in our society today. The notion that nice guys or gals finish last is not the lesson that we want to be passing on to future generations. Ethics and values demonstrate what's right with the world, and they need to be appreciated, they need to be celebrated and emulated. Unfortunately, there are people in this world who tell you that character doesn't count, that ethics and values are naive and outdated notions. They'll tell you that only results and the bottom line matters. Remember, these types of people are examples of what's wrong with the world, and they must not be applauded nor emulated. The loud, clear, and thundering message we must demonstrate ourselves and pass down to future generations is that character does indeed count, integrity counts, and honor counts. We can and must demonstrate that success can be achieved without the lying, cheating, and stealing your way to the top. So how can we do it? How do we get the job done? What specifically can we do to reverse the tide and to restore our ability to live ethical, value-based lives? Well, let me give you a two-part solution. Number one, there's got to be a heightened awareness. We must have an awareness that this problem exists. We must be aware of the consequences of moral decay, and we must be aware of our own behavior and the compromises that we have made regarding our own character. And number two, or perhaps even more important, there must be a shared concern. We must have a shared concern for our children, for future generations, and for one another. This second step will require a level of commitment and determination that may defy explanation. This second step demands a sustained and unshakable resolve, a collective will to effect a meaningful change in society's standards and its behavior. You see, the deterioration of sound ethics and values is the greatest single danger to current and even more so to future generations. That's why it must be taken seriously. Now, let's be sure we're focusing in on the right question. See, the question is not what can we do to prevent moral decay and its consequences. The right question, the one we need to focus on, is this: what can we do to motivate and maintain ethical behavior in society and ourselves? This is your challenge, and it is mine. It is the challenge of leadership, and it is the challenge of every parent, every educator, coach, politician, business person, and clergy. I sincerely hope you enjoyed this message on consequences and why we need to enforce them. And if you'd like to receive more messages like this and learn about the work that I do and how I challenge people and organizations to make a bigger mark in this world, please visit GaryRyanBlair.com and make it the very next thing you do.